I wanted to see how anti-gravity, is that what it's called? Anti-gravity could do for bug fixing. I think a lot of people are showing you how to do one-shots and vibe code and stuff, but I was curious, how would it fare up for actually fixing a traditional front-end bug? So, got some bugs. So let me show you what's going on. I'm working on my component library, and I'm working on a sidebar. And so I'm tabbing right now, and you should be able to see the focus ring. And if I hit space or enter, it'll open up the popover. And then if I tab in, here's the first bug. You can see the focus ring. I mean, there's a lot of bugs in this, but the most egregious ones. Bear with me. I'm getting started on these things, but you can see there's like a little diamond that's supposed to be the triangle, and it's sitting above the focus ring. So that's one bug. And then the other bug is if I keep tabbing and I keep tabbing, I'm on the fence. I think that should dismiss the popover at that point. I have to set that up. And then when I get to here, this is the settings, and this should open another popover. So I'm going to hit space bar, and it opens it, but then it puts focus back on the projects folder. And that's understandable because the popover is supposed to go back to the last focused item, the trigger item, and it never was dismissed. So there's an interesting nuanced bug. It's also some UX. So I'm kind of trying to repurpose popover for the sub menu, and I might need to add some flexibility. So what I did was I captured all this in a kind of a bug report, something you'd see in a Jira ticket or a pivotal tracker or whatever you use. And I'm going to point the Antigravity LLM. I guess I'll be using Gemini 3 Pro. That's what the cool kids are telling me to use these days, right? And this is it's Storybook, so this is the story. And maybe I'll also say the other files. See also these files too. It should see it it should see it from the open Windows context, but I'm just not super familiar with how Gravity works. So I'm going to drop this into here. Can I go to planning? Oh, I don't want to view the changelog. I think there's the agent. Oh, open agent mode. Let's see what happens when we do this. Yeah. So I'm telling it to see the storybook, telling it to see these files where I think it's at, and then I show it. I've got 2 bugs. Maybe I'll just say, please investigate the following 2 bugs. Okay. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to do that. I've only used this for kind of one-shot stuff, so it'll be interesting to see if it can actually address a bug. So it's thinking, what's it saying? Oh, that's interesting. So my code is over, my editor's over here, and I'm in the agent mode. Oh, what happened? It was showing me the editor over here on the right for a second. It's thinking about how the popover handles focus in edge cases, such as when a user tabs away from one popper and then interacts with another. Exactly what we're talking about. Specifically, the implementation returns focus to the trigger element unconditionally in the hide method. The click trigger is relevant here. The expected behavior appears to be close the first popover, but I wonder if there's, what's it? That's one thing I still can't get used to, is when these windows are flying all over the place. I'm now diving deeper into how hide handles focus restoration. Focusing. So this is a kind of nuanced kind of bug. I actually didn't have the exact answer. I had a few ideas of what it would do. The arrow one should be pretty easy. But specifically, how it handles focus in this use case is going to be interesting. I'm wanting to be delighted. Come on, Antigravity. I guess if I was doing this, in my day-to-day, I would be going and frantically looking at existing sites and menus and trying to figure out what the best UX is in that case. It's either that once you traverse out of the popover, it just auto dismisses, or once you open up another popover, it's going to dismiss the previous one. But then it has to keep track of that. So it's an interesting bug. Let's see what's going on. It's still thinking. I'm currently updating the task MD document to reflect these recent changes. Next, I'll revise the popover, focusing on the hide method to incorporate a focus restoration check. I'll also implement get ActiveElement helper and update the arrow CSS. Okay, this is definitely the selector where that z-index stacking context issue was. All right, so let's see what it did. It took a while. So this is the popover itself. I wanted to look at it. Agent is running terminal commands. Maybe I should be over here so we can see what it's actually doing. Okay, it did what I thought, is it made the arrow z-index -1. That works. That'll stick it under the popover rectangle. And that works. So let's see. I want to see what other changes it's doing. So here's the interesting one. So it says return focus to the trigger when closing, but only if focus is currently 1 on the body, lost focus, or 2 inside the popover itself, example, close button or content, or on the trigger itself. We do not want to steal focus if the user has already moved it elsewhere, e.g. tabbing to the next menu item. So it's going to do this get active element. Is that going to be document active element? Yeah, so it's going to get the document active element while active shadow root, because we're in web components. Active equals shadow root active element. My eyes aren't seeing if it's traversing down or up while active. What is active root? Oh, that's just a document active. So it's just going to go into the shadow root of the active document element. Okay, interesting. And then the trigger element is focused on body. Okay, so I'm going to accept these changes. And did it do anything here? I guess not. So it did all changes in the popover. And that's going to mean I'm going to have to rebuild. What is it doing over here? I have fixed the focus management and z-index issues in the popover component. I've also added a new test case to verify the focus fix. Where's the test case? Oh, it did it in the spec. Okay, let's open that guy up. I wish I knew what the new spec was. It's not highlighting. All right, well, we'll assume that's there. Let me see what the walkthrough is. The walkthrough, before hide, always return focus to the trigger element, just as I explained. After hide, the only returns focus to the trigger if the current focus is lost on body, inside the popover, or on the trigger itself. Okay, and then the z-index was for the trigger. Sorry guys, I'm trying to do this in a real way that I would do this, and I'd be reading through this, making sure I understood. But hopefully this is interesting to you. So I think we've got everything. Now I've got unfortunately, because Popover is a part of the library element. So this is AgnosticUI, my component library, and I'm running it through a storybook. So I have to recompile everything. And I probably could have just ran npm build, but I like to run lint test type check and all the things, points out problems early. And then once that's done, I will install the tarball. So we'll give this a second. And there's our guy still waiting, but I've got to get this library change from Popover pulled in so we can run the storybook again and see if anti-gravity can actually fix somewhat complex UI, UX bugs on our behalf. I'm already pretty impressed with this. This seems close to what I would have thought. It's detecting, like, are you in the popover element itself or on the body? And if not, it's gonna trigger focus body. So it's only gonna put focus on it if it's one of those conditions. So I think this might actually work. Let's see. So I'm installing it, and I'm gonna run Storybook, and then that should open on whatever port. Hopefully this is in the right browser. There it is. Okay. It's going to reload and we'll be able to try this out. What's going on here? Okay, here we go. So when I'm in collapse mode, after hitting that button, I'm going to tab down, and you can see hopefully those little arrow affordances. That means there's a sub menu in there. Tab in. Okay, now the focus ring is on top of the arrow, so that bug is definitely fixed. And then I'm going to tab past this. It's going to stay open, but when I open up the other sub menu, the other one opens. Beautiful. Wow. Okay, I kind of wanted it to not work, but wow, that's pretty cool. So anti-gravity fixed a rather complicated real UI UX front-end developer bug that feels like a bug that I'd be working on myself as a front-end developer. And I did give it really, let's go back to like maybe how I set it up for success. I documented where, I told it exactly where the files were. I gave it a reproduction steps. And then the second issue was just the arrow thing. It was pretty easy. And then I also, under more information, I said, this is because the popover puts focus back on the trigger element when it closes. So we either need to dismiss on blur, or the popover needs to keep track and put focus instead on the new trigger element. So this was kind of wrong, a little bit wrong what I said here. In fact, what anti-gravity inverted this is the same idea in spirit, but anti-gravity was right. Like, we needed to make sure that the focus was no longer within the popover or on the popover's trigger or on the body. If not, then it might be navigating to another element, which is the case, and to figure that out. So yeah, so it's possible to do some real development, front-end development with this thing. I'm impressed. Okay, well, that's it for me. I've already taken up a long enough time. Interesting. I think you could probably pull this off with Cursor and Claude Code and some of these others, but that was a pretty good experience the way that all worked out. So I'm pretty impressed.